Okay, before answering Marco's questions from this morning in another thread, I want to talk about some other things that came to my attention that people want to know. They're asking questions, or things that probably you didn't realize existed, or different ways of doing things. So the first thing is the font awesomes. With this update, the plugin update, I updated the font awesome to the latest version. And one of the latest icons is the one that you see over here. The icons are going to work if you don't have another plugin installed with an older version of Font Awesome. One such example is the WP Canvas shortcodes plugin that I use. And if you use such a plugin that uses older versions of Font Awesome, you need to disable the Font Awesome on that the plugin uses, if it's possible, if it's available, that option for you. Thankfully, with WP Canvas, it is possible. So right now, the Font Awesome in that plugin is turned off. When I turn it on, this Font Awesome icon is not going to be displayed on the page anymore. So to go to the Font Awesome, the Canvas options, you go to Appearance in the backside, to the Shortcodes menu, and in the Miscellaneous tab, you're going to find the support for Font Awesome. If I turn it on, it's going to conflict with the themes version of Font Awesome, and as I said, the icon is not going to show up. Now, older icons that are supported with the version of the Canvas that has, and right now I'm not sure which version they have. Obviously, it's an older version that they have, not the latest one. Those are going to show up. So if the icon was home or check or one of the older ones, the more popular ones, those are going to be fine. But the latest ones, they're not going to work. So if you're using such a plugin, or if you're trying to set a Font Awesome from the latest icons and somehow they're not showing up on your website, it's because there is a conflicting plugin you have installed. Either you need to find another plugin, or you need to find a way of disabling Font Awesome support in that particular plugin. So I'm going to go ahead and right now turn it off, and the icon is there. All right, let's talk really quickly about TGM. I had a private email today regarding how do I get the Qt builder, the page builder, and I guess the person never used the TGM or doesn't know what it is. The TGM is a plugin installer that I particularly love, because all of a sudden makes my themes become 100 times more powerful than they are. And unlike other themes that you see in the marketplace, where everything is shoved into a theme, so a theme is 50 megabytes, 30 megabytes big, and a lot of the times it's all those plugins and codes are embedded into the theme. So whether you use them or not, they're sitting there and slowing down your site. With a TGM, when you activate your theme, it's going to recommend a bunch of plugins, and it's going to be up to you to install them or not, to use them or not. Now, a lot of those plugins, let's say from Envato, they only recommend or require plugins that are necessary for the theme to work. And they usually have only two or three. I decided not to follow what they're doing. So instead of caring about my theme, I care about the entire web building experience, web design experience. So I'm suggesting probably 80, 90 plugins, and with time, the list is going to get bigger and bigger. So I'm pretty much recommending any type of plugin any category of plugin you can imagine, from security, which has had nothing to do with themes, but with web design. So I care about the whole experience, not just the theme. So anywhere from security to sliders to database optimization, cache plugins, everything is in there, and everything is in categories. And all those lists, all those plugins, the list of the plugins, I should say, they're all stored into my server, and they get downloaded dynamically. So by doing so, I can change the recommendations, I can change the list, I can add things and delete things from the list without having to update the Artisteer plugin, the Qt plugin. So let me show you really quickly. Every time you activate one of the Qt made themes, like I'm going to do right now, you're going to get a notice of recommendation. Okay, so we have the essentials, the security, the miscellaneous, speed, sliders, page builders, WooCommerce, and development. Those are not actually plugins, although they are technically plugins. Those are the lists divided into different categories. I put them in categories because if it was just one list, you were going to get like 80, 90 plugins in front of you, and it was going to be very confusing. Like this, you can have different categories to look at, easier to sort out what you want to do. Now, clicking the X over there, it's not going to help much. This message is going to keep coming back. You need to click on the dismiss this notice link to get rid of it, or begin installing plugins. Right now, I'm going to dismiss it. Once you dismiss it and later on decide that you want to see the list again, there's three ways of doing so. Deactivate the plugin and activate something else, and then activate it back again. But if this is a live site and you have visitors on our website, they're going to see the theme changes, so that is not recommended. You have two other options. In the appearance, you can go to install plugins. That's going to bring the list back. Or from the admin bar, in the general settings, you're going to go to install suggested plugins, and that's going to take you to the list. All right. Now, I'm going to install, let's say, a slider. So I'm going to go ahead and install the sliders list. Right now, all it downloaded from the server is the list. So now I see 3 sliders. In the list there's four actually, but one of them is already installed. That is the YouTube player and the background video player. So out of the 3, I'm going to install the easiest one to use right now, the responsive slider. Once you install something, automatically it gets updated and it's not shown in the list anymore. And if I go out and install, let's say, the essentials, the list is going to get bigger. Now, along with the sliders, you see the essentials. Some of the essentials are already been installed. That's why you don't see them in the list. If I go and disable any of those plugins, let me see what's in the essentials that I can. Advanced Database Cleaner. So if I disable that, you're going to see that the Advanced Database Cleaner showed up in the list here. And it indicates that it is installed but not activated. So if I delete it, it's still going to be shown in the list, but it's going to say not installed instead. If I activate it, and I will right now, it's going to disappear from the list. So I can activate it by clicking here, or going to the plugins and activating it, or simply by using the plugin called plugin toggle, and click on it again, and it's going to get activated, and it's not going to be in the list again. If you want to get rid of the list, all I have to do is delete the list. So we have the essentials, you activate that, and we have the sliders, you activate that. All right, and I'm going to delete them as well, because those lists are fluid. They're going to be changing frequently, depending what your definition of frequently is, of course, probably once a month or so. So if you delete it and you go and try to install the list again, it's going to get a fresh copy from the server along with a fresh list of any changes done. And that's about it about the TGM. Now, every time there's changes, that I'm going to be making changes to the plugin lists, I'm going to be putting it in the forums, like I put the list earlier today. I'm going to be updating the list. And also, I have a separate website at WordPress.com that I use to generate RSS feeds out of there. I'm keeping it at WordPress.com because the servers are really fast. So the RSS feeds on the dashboard, if you go on the dashboard, that's where you see, you're going to see the latest 3 news items that I have. In previous version of the Qt plugin, I was using my server, which is a shared hosting at GoDaddy, and it was giving a probably 1 or 2 seconds of delay in showing the dashboard every 12 hours, because the list gets updated every 12 hours. If you want to not to wait the 12 hours, you can always install the WP DB cleaner, which is a database cleaner. This is in the essentials plugin list, which I strongly recommend. And all you have to do is clean the dashboard transient feed, and that is going to clean the feed and get the latest ones. And this is the latest one. So I added, if you want to see any of the news or the actual website, you click on it and it takes you there. This is actually the question, one of the questions that Marco had. I'm going to come back to this again. So 2 places to look for the list updates, at the dashboard and in the Qt forums. All right. Custom headings, really quickly. I'm going to go to the website, and something a month ago, Marco kept telling me that the heading shortcode is not responsive, and I've got a sample over here. This is the heading shortcode. It is responsive, something that he didn't realize. Um, Unlike images, text in a responsive design, they don't resize as you resize the screen. They get broken into the next line. But what gets broken is are words and not letters. So if you have a word that has a lot of letters in there, you're going to be running into problems. Let me give you an example. In the inline video page, um, if we look at the different sizes, and we're going to be okay the way it is, and it broke into two lines, but right here the M is cut, so that's an issue. That is a little bit of a problem. So you have two choices here. Either you're going to use one of my shortcodes to configure it not to have that problem, or you're going to use smaller font. So I've got the second example over here, and Marco said that he was able to duplicate this page, and I don't know if he saw it or figured it out or even noticed it, that it's the way it's set up, the heading in this page, it's a little bit different from what I showed you. So if I go to different sizes, we don't have that problem. And notice what's happening. At some point, the heading is getting smaller, and I'm going to show you how I did that. I want to say that the device shortcodes were put with the original Qt plugin. So this is from day one that I took that I made my plugin. I guess what we're talking about in April, so 8-9 months. So this is what I did. So I created the heading shortcode, and then I set the size to 75. Actually, I didn't do anything. This is the default values of the header. I didn't change anything. I just went to the themes options and I said heading, and it brought it in. Okay, so let me load it up again. And then I went to the theme options, highlighted it, and I say no phone. So what it's doing media queries through a shortcode, through PHP. So this is not going to be shown on a phone, just on the desktop and tablet. Then I made a copy of the heading shortcode, and I did the same thing, but instead of saying no phone, I'm saying no desktop, and no tablet. So what I have is the bigger version of the heading. That means the 75 pixels. I'm showing it on desktop and tablet, and on when the font size is at 30, I'm just showing it on the phone. So no desktop and no tablet. And that's how I tackled that problem. All right. One of the best things that the Qt plugin offers, because you can do pretty crazy stuff, and I'm going to disable the Qt CSS plugin right now, is how you can configure different pages to do different things. So let's say if I go to the shortcodes, edit the page, the default CSS thing code that you have per page or per post, if you will, it's this one over here. So you can put your custom CSS, and anything you put here will affect only this page, not the entire website. And then I have some preset that you can choose from, but you can only choose one at a time. So let's say if I say no header, only this page now, it's not going to have a header. The header is gone. I'm at the top of the page. Okay. So you can do lots of stuff, and this is how I'm using to to display the background videos. Now, before going to the background videos, this particular system, which is built into the themes, works with any plugin, including WooCommerce and everything else. I almost have a better system, and it's in the TGM plugin under miscellaneous list category. It's the Qt CSS. Once you install it and activate it, replaces the themes list, the themes CSS system, whatever you want to call it, with this one, where not only you can have CSS per page, but also JavaScript. And now, instead of having a select one CSS file, you can actually select many of them. So when it comes to the transparent videos, the page with the transparent video, which is this one, in order for you to display any of the transparent videos, you have to say no background, so I'm disabling the background. And in this case, I'm making the page transparent where the theme is light, more appropriate for lighter themes as opposed to dark transparency. And then I'm making the footer transparent and the header transparent. Now the video, the background video or the inline video, I'm using the YT player, which is found under the sliders category. If you click on it, it's very simple. You put your YouTube video URL in there. You put your opacity, the quality. I always say auto detect, if it's inline or not. If it's not inline, it's going to be in the background. If you want to show the controls or not. The full screen, if you want to be the screen or the browser window, I always say the browser window. You don't want to show the link to the original thing. Autoplay, where to start, where to end. The beginning volume, I always have it at 100. Excuse me. If you want to loop the video, add the raster graphics on it, and then pause on window blur, and then you insert it. Now, when it comes to putting it inline, you click that in, and then you say the width. It's always 100%, so put a percentage. And now you control the height. Of all the plugins that I've seen displaying YouTube videos, I've never seen that you can control both the width and the height. Usually the width controls the height of the width of the video. This is true with my YouTube shortcodes, the YouTube shortcode and the YouTube cards. The width of the video, or the width of the div that contains the video, always controls the height. This is the only one that you can actually control both the width and the height. You cannot put a percentage for the height. It has to be in pixels only, but when it comes to the width, you can put percentage. So that's how the videos are done. Now, this particular plugin, with the new update from last week of WordPress 4.7, it's sort of broken. So when you're showing the background videos, for whatever reason, the admin bar goes at the bottom of the page. So you have that little blank space over there, and this is at the bottom. Of course, you have no ill effects when somebody's is logged out or doesn't have the admin bar, and they're looking at the video. And again, the header is transparent, the page is transparent, and then the footer is transparent, so you can see the video, as opposed to just disabling the background, and you see the video, but the video is not visible anywhere else. And on a smaller screen, it's almost no good. So, and this is an example of the inline video. If you ask me, if it was up to me, because nowadays everybody has smartphones, and the smartphones nowadays, they create high quality videos, and there are very cheap, if not free, video editors that you can do pretty amazing stuff, from slow motions to time lapses to transitions and everything else. I'm seeing more and more the trend, instead of using sliders, using videos. Now, as far as copywriting goes, with YouTube videos, I've read several places that if somebody posts their own video on YouTube and they have the sharing on, you can use it. Because there are software you can download videos from YouTube, and what's going to be considered stealing or breaking copywriting is to download the video, put it on your account, and then use it from there. Now, in this case, I'm using from Porsche's account the videos, because number one, they're very high quality productions, and they don't have any ads. That's the next important thing. No ads showing up. The drawback of using somebody else's videos, even if they're sharing, is that you don't have real control of it. At any given time, Porsche might delete this video, and my site is going to have a broken video link going on. So that's the drawback. All right, so that much about well, almost about the Qt CSS. Now, the original system that I showed you, to customize, to make changes to those files, or even create new ones in your theme, there's a folder called Page CSS, and all the files in here, make sure that they all have an extension of CSS. And all you have to do is write your code in there. In this case, some of them are because you can only choose one at a time. Again, it's a select box and not a checkbox. Some of them you have to combine many CSS rules together. For example, when it comes to landing pages. So when it comes to a landing page, I'm disabling the header, and I'm not displaying the footer. And to really create a landing page, let me show you an example here. Log in, edit the post. Well, in this case, I can create my own landing page. So basically, it was no footer and no header. And with a true landing page, you don't have menus. So you disable the menus, and I guess you disable pretty much everything else. Post title, the primary sidebar, and the secondary sidebar. So basically, all you're going to be left with is with a blank page, and you can do that very easily. Actually, there are some premium plugins that going for like $30, $29, whatever it is, just to create those kind of pages, which is pretty crazy. All right, so and to customize the Qt CSS, by the way, the second plugin that I showed you, or the one I'm using right now, is a folder called Qt CSS, and all the files are in here. So I can create new ones with the CSS extension, and we have the JavaScript files that you can pre-select. but I don't have any scripts in there and any JavaScripts. Just remember, any JavaScripts you put in this folder and you use a check mark will only run on that particular page or post. All right, images. I'm gonna go talk about images really quickly. I found that there are some plugins that use images. With Artisteer themes, the images don't sit well. They don't sit where they are because Artisteer puts, by default, margins on the images. So you can correct that with CSS if it's your website and you're using the plugin. But if you create a theme for distribution, you can't predict what type of plugins they're going to be using. So they have to fix how the image looks in that particular widget or plugin that they're using to display images. So I've decided to eliminate that problem in Artisteer. As far as when it comes to images, they're always going to have a margin of 0 and 0 throughout. So that creates a problem when you put an image next to text. So that's why I have 3 different solutions for that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to go ahead and put an image over here. Let me put this one. Let me configure it. It's on left, full size. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Let's make it 450. And let's say update and go from there. Now you can see that there's no margins. So there are 3 ways of doing things. Number 1 is to install a plugin called Advanced Image Styles. The Advanced Image Styles, it's going to give you the advanced options. It's going to give you these things over here, so you can put your margins. So I want to say, give me 25 pixels to the right, and now I'm going to have space of 25 pixels. The second method is, and I created it with the Qt plugin, what is it, 1.23 last time around, I guess. I mentioned that I had 6 new CSS classes, custom classes, that nobody questioned how to use it or when to use it, or so I doubt that anyone noticed it or are using it. So all I have to do is use any of the classes or a combination of both. So it's image right, and it's almost and it's image right, image left, image bottom, image top, and this is going to automatically add 15 pixels in the direction that you specify. So if I add the class, I'm going to get the 15 pixels separation there. And the third method is, and I've got 2 reasons of creating the image shortcode, is number 1 to eliminate such problems, and number 2, if you put a large image in the editor, it pretty much takes away the entire screen, and sometimes I hate that. So I can always use the image shortcode to do the job. So I can decide if I want it rounded corners or not. Let me say yes, 10 degrees. align it to the left. Lightbox, why not? Now the width, you can put a percentage, or actually you can put in pixels. Either way, it's gonna work. I'm gonna choose the image. Do I want a shadow? Yes. And I'm gonna say to the right, let's say, let's make it 30 this time. And at the bottom, 30 pixels as well, why not? And this is what is generated. I'm gonna say update. And there it is. We have the shadow, we have the rounded corners, we have the light box, and it's 450 pixels. This is the actual size of the image. The other two custom classes that I have are WPTC-top and -bottom, and that's to have 50 pixels of space. It's preset, and it's best used with the Qt Builder. So let me give you an example. So if I want to put space, let's say here, this is the feature shortcode. Let's say I want to put 50, and it's set at 50 pixels. I'm going to put 50 pixel separation here, 50 pixel separation over here. By the way, unlike other page builder plugins, the Qt Builder doesn't have any space between rows, right? Doesn't even have some of the other plugins they have in the option screen. You can set a separation, how much pixels you want. You can even say 0. This is set at 0. So it's going to be up to you to separate. So again, if I want to put, let's say, 50 pixel separation top and bottom, because now when it comes to web design theory, white space, apparently it's really important. So 10, 15 years ago, websites, everything was smaller letters, everything packed. You had like 5,000 words in a very cramped small space. Now everything is bigger and spread apart. All right, so let's do that. So there are a few methods of doing it. So this is the features. So one of the ways is to add basically 2 rows at the top and the bottom of the features, and add the space. So really quickly, let me show you. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to move it. Okay. I'm going to label it really quickly so I know what it is. I'm going to open it, edit it, and I have I can use the margins to put the top margin, but that's going to be too long. I have the space. By default it's 200, that's too much. I'm going to put 50. Actually, just to see the effect, to be more clear, let me keep it at 200. Now, just to put the margin of 200 pixels there, okay? I'm putting a shortcut where it's running a PHP code, right? And that's fine in some situations. But if you have a class, a CSS class to do the job, you should do it. I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to go to the features, and I'm going to use the in the settings, in the row settings, I'm going to use the HTML classes to do the almost the same job. They're preset at 50 pixels. Now, of course, you can create your own classes and create more variables like 100 pixels, 200 pixels, and so forth. I only have 2, so I have WTC top and then let me put at the bottom as well. So space WTC bottom. Spelling is correct. Update it. So now we're gonna see that there's space, more space, 50 pixels to be precise, added on top and at the bottom. So these are the custom classes about the images and the spaces. One category group of those classes for images, more appropriate, although you can use them anywhere you want. The second one for the page builder. Again, the difference is instead of using the shortcodes, you don't want to run PHP code for something you can do with simple CSS, but it's already there. All right, something that some people realize, or some people are new to the Qt plugin, they're coming from the ThemeCity. Whether it's the themes columns, and let me show you how do you access the themes columns are here, or whether using the page builders columns, or even WP Canvas shortcodes, because that plugin has columns as well. All the breakpoints, all the responsive breakpoints are at, 900 pixels. So if I go to any page that uses any of those three things to create columns, the responsive breakpoint is going to be at 900 pixels. So as you can see, at 900, everything breaks into single columns. This is to the contrary of many plugins, similar plugins or themes. Some of them, for example, ThemeCity breaks at 480, which for me doesn't work, to be honest. Same with the WP Canvas shortcuts, by the way. They used to break at 480. I changed that. And most page builders, they break at the tablet level, which is, what is it, 768 or something like that. So almost 800 pixels. I break it at 900. I really wanted to get in a little bit bigger, probably, but 900 it's good enough. All right, really quickly now, I'm going to show you some cool plugins that maybe you realized made the list lately or not. One of them is the Easy Featured Images. So that's in, I want to say, in the miscellaneous category of the TGM plugin list. So if you go to the posts, now you're going to see an image column, and it's going to indicate whether you have images or not. And if you don't, you get something like, come on, like that. So all you have to do is click on the button over there, and then add an image. And that's all there is to it. You don't have to edit the entire post to put an image in there. The second one is, actually, this is pretty cool. And this is, again, one of the plugins that sort of got broken with WordPress 4.7. So I'm going to edit this particular post, and I'm going to remove the featured image. And again, this plugin is the featured image generator. So basically, you're going to get a second link over here, which is featured image generator, and it's got a settings page as well, which you decide by default what's going to be the size of the image. And it's going to get a free image from you from the internet. that you can use, and also you can put text on it. So this is the free version of it. So let's say I don't know, laptop, search photos. In the pro version, you can have multiple layers, and you can have Pixabay, the source of images from Pixabay. Let me say, let's say I want to get this image. So by default, the plugin, the default values here are 500 with 300 pixels. I change it to 800, but you can change it on the fly to anything you want. So let's say if I say 1100, you get it on the spot. Let's keep it at 800. And now I'm gonna go ahead and put a caption on it. So let's say my laptop. Okay, you can change the color. So let's make it green. I can move it around. Now I want to say that I think I'm going to end up buying this plugin, but with the professional, with the premium version of the plugin, I think you can freely move things around as opposed to using this thing over here. So you can move it too much to the bottom, to the top, anywhere you want. And you can change the font size as well. So when you're done, you're going to say save to media. Now with WordPress 4.6, once you saved it to the media, it would also automatically put it into as a featured image. That stopped working. So it's not a big deal. Once you do that, you go to set the featured image, and then you grab it then. It's 2 clicks away. So that's the image that you can generate. Use it for free. The sizes are not big. The 800 times 300 pixels, I want to say they're around 50 kilobytes. They can be optimized, of course. Actually, those images, I can probably optimize them to about 20-25 kilobytes without using much quality or any quality. And that's it. That's pretty cool plugin to use. The third one is the WP Editor widget, which I'm using to display the logo over here. My latest shortcode that I created. Basically, the text logo is basically you can have 2 sets of text. In this case, I have quicker, and the second text is themes. And you can have 3 icons, to the left, to the middle, and to the right. So in this case, I'm just using the middle one. So WordPress by default, we know that it comes with the text widget, which is basically what it says. It's plain text. So in the logo area, if I put text, it's going to be up to me to generate the HTML code and all that, which I personally don't want to do. But once you install the this particular plugin, which again was the WP Editor widget found in the Essentials plugin, you get the full editor, and then from there you simply go to the theme shortcodes and select logo text, and basically you get this, and then you fill in the blank. You want to put a link. That's the link to the homepage, your alignment, left, right, the size, the color. If you don't put the color or the size, it's going to use the default or the theme's default values. And then the icon 1, the name of the font awesome icon, and I'm using just the second icon. So we have icon 1, text 1, icon 2, text 2, and icon 3, and that's it. So you can put pretty much anything you want. Shortcodes, images, videos, whatever you can do with the editor, you can do it in a widget with that particular plugin. And that's about it. Okay, I'm gonna go really quickly and answer now to Marco's two questions because I'm sure he's ready to kill me by now. All right, I already posted this morning. His question actually was the image effects. What am I using and how am I using it? So it's a plugin which TGM now, the TGM plugin installer now is recommending, and I want to say it's in the miscellaneous category, and the name of the plugin again is Image Effect CK. Okay, and basically it's very easy to use. If you go to my WordPress.com blog, I have a 1 minute silent video demonstrating that. Hopefully I'll be able to do it in less than 1 minute. So let me edit the page really quickly. On any image that you have, all you have to do, make sure that you don't have the lightbox, art-lightbox class, because it doesn't work with the lightbox. You put one of the classes that the plugin uses. So different class has different animation. So I have listed all those classes. Okay. There you go. I have listed all those classes here. So you can use any one of them. When it comes to the title and the description, all you have to do is separate them by 2 columns. Okay, so you put the title first in the image title attribute, and then you put 2 columns, and then whatever you're going to put, that's going to be the description. In this case, for all the images, they have different classes, so they're going to have different animations, but the text is always the same. So that's what I'm using. If you guys like it and want to use it, I guess I can create a shortcode where you can pick from a pop-up box. You can pick all the different classes, so you don't have to memorize all the 24 classes. How to do it, and I guess I can set a link to the image if I want to set a link, and also the title and the description that you want to put on the image. The second question was, how did I put the video on the home page? And that is actually an easy question to answer. Now I have the inline video over here, and it's put. I use the page builder. It's very straightforward. I use the YT player to put the inline video, and then use the margins to push it up by 30 pixels up to go all the way to the menus. And of course, I disable the post title and the post meta header, and also the primary menus are not being displayed on this page as well. And that's it. Now, if this was the home page, because it's a static page, actually, never mind what I said about that. When it comes to the home page, I've got the archive. This is an archive page. This is the blog page. So basically, I don't have control of what is displayed. WordPress. Actually, the theme decides what's going to be displayed, which is the archive. It generates the text for me. So The only way of putting anything up here, it's going to be either in the template, in the header template, or it's going to be through a widget. And I did it through a widget. So whatever this video code was, I made a copy of it. The only thing that I changed, if you notice, I've got the controls, which I don't have in the inline video. And I went to the widget. I went to the page top widget area, put the code in there by using the rich text, put the exact code in there, and then all I have to do is go to theme display options, change it from all pages to selected pages, and say front page. Now remember, the home page in WordPress is different from the front page. The home page is actually the blog page, the archive page, which could be anywhere in the menu order, anywhere. The front page is when you go to the website, what is being shown. By default is the blog page, the archive page, which you see right now. But you can change that very easily from the settings or the customizer and make any of those static pages your front page. So that's what I'm doing now. Right now, and I'm gonna do what I did to the website really quickly. I'm gonna get rid of that, and I'm gonna put a slider really quickly just to show you a few things in there that you didn't realize that we can do. So once you install a slider, and I just installed a responsive slider, this theme to be once I start putting the images into the slider, automatically only on the home page the slider is going to be start working. So one way of getting the images was that software that show you to generate the featured images, and you can use that. The width is 1100 pixels, and the height by default is 300 pixels. So that's how I configured the plugin. That's why it came from my server and not from WordPress, because the WordPress from the author, if you get the plugin, it's going to come, I want to say 800 something pixels, maybe 880, and it's going to be too small for my themes. My themes are always 1100. So it's everything pre-configured, ready to go. All I have to do is add images. Now I've got an image repository going. Those are images that are pre-configured, different widths and optimized for the internet, so they're ready to be used. Qt images, and that's nice. There you go. And I have to log in to see them. So I'm gonna go and grab a couple of images. Now, all those images are from Pixabay. Those are free images to be used any way you want. So let me grab a couple of them. Let me get this. So right mouse click and say copy image address. And in the media menu, I've got a function called add from URL. And I'm simply going to put the URL of that image here. And it's available. Let me grab a second one. Copy image address. Add from URL. So like this. I have multiple computers. I don't have to have the images on different computers. And if I get images from Pixabay every time, I don't have to resize them and optimize them. Those are ready to go. So if I go to the media library, those images, they're sitting there. I've got here, and I can use those two. Okay, so the responsive slider plugin, it's out of the all the sliders that I'm recommending, the easiest one to use. add new slide. I'm gonna put a title here. Just call it right now slider. Actually, slide 1. If you want to put a link over there, you put it there, and then I'm gonna say set featured image, and that's it. Let me put just 3. So that's the second one. Slide 2. Actually, I'm too lazy. I'm gonna just put the second one as well. 2 is enough. And then everything again is pre-configured. So when I installed it, it changed to actually it installed as 1100 pixels width with 300. You can change them, of course. The transition is fade and not slide. And then you've got the delay milliseconds and the animation duration. And once you set the images, and this is true with all the sliders that I recommend, they're automatically going to be shown only on the home page. Okay, so that's it about the sliders. I think I've covered in the whole big scheme of things very little, but for today I'm starting to get a headache, and I'm sure you started getting a headache, what, about an hour ago? So we'll continue tomorrow or the day after. I want to tackle second menus next.